Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage and the AZU engine. The reason why it took a while to make this video was because I had to get one of these. This is a threaded bolt with fine threads that is supposed to thread through into this dynamo contraption thingy, and that way I should be able to pull it off so I can change the oil seal in there. Let's try that. I need to try to stop the engine from spinning. I think I can grab it with this without doing any damage. Oh, there we go. It hit the bottom. There we go. Lucky catch. It's off. I got a spare one of these that I might end up using because it looks a little better. But for now, I can change that oil seal in there. So this is the oil seal that I want to change. I put the old one in when I assembled the engine because I thought, maybe it will be all right, but I couldn't really sleep at night after that. So now I hope to be able to pull it out. There we go, it's out. Then I'm going to oil up the new seal and push that in. There we go, came in easy. And a new fresh seal at the rear. That makes it possible to install the clutch. Well, the flywheel at least. That means it's time for a new battery. Back online. For the new engines you need to use new balls for the old one. Maybe also, but they really don't look like stretch balls like the newer ones do, so I'm gonna reuse them. I think it will be just fine, but just a word of caution about that. A bit of a rough treatment for the poor old screwdriver. Anyway, now I can install a new clutch plate and the pressure plate. The pressure plate is just the old one. It's just fine also. I'm going to use this alignment tool to install the pressure plate so that it is in the center. Put this one on. There we go. What I want to do next is to just couple this together with the transmission and put it back in the chassis. But before I can do that, I will have to get some wheels on that chassis. And to do that, I will have to put some new bearings and kingpins in. And now I got the correct spare parts for that, because I have gotten a hold of these two. You might remember if you watched the previous videos that the ones on the car were different kinds, different bearing size and all that. This is not necessarily the correct one for the year, but it will work just fine. And the main thing is it's the same on both sides. But I still want to change the bearings on them and the kingpins. So what I want to do is to remove the inner ring right there and and then undo the big lock ring. What I normally just do is to take a screwdriver and twist it. That will get the seal out. Of course, you would clean it up if you were to reuse the bearings, but I'm not. So we can clean it up when everything is out of there. There we go. Then I need to clean up this ring because sometimes it's been hit with a punch to lock it. And if so, that needs to be drilled. Not this one though, so it's probably been changed once. Some do it, some don't. This is not punched. What about the other one? Yeah, this one got a punch mark, but that has already been drilled out once. So they have definitely been changed once before. So what I do to remove this ring is to use this special tool for Citroën. Like that. And then what I use is the big skill tool to undo that. That is normally the easiest way. And it takes a lot of force. That's one done. There we go. They are out. Both of the rings. And then I can press out the old bearings. Hey! That one came out by itself. But that's just the inner ring. Now my balls are all over the floor. And then using this, I can put the bearing on like that, and then using this I can press the bearing out. I'm gonna use this to just avoid having to pump a million times. It's a manual press, which means that it takes quite a long time to move that piston. I actually wish that it had a electric motor to do that. And then I can just press the old bearing out. There we go. That's one done. That's the other one done. Next up I need to push the bushings. There are bushings inside of here for the kingpin. And unfortunately I do not have the correct tool for that. So I'm just going to have to use some different sizes of... the 14mm are normally the correct size for it. So let's try that. I can put this one in here. And then the next one down there. I'm gonna push that out using maybe just like this actually. Doesn't need a whole lot of force. It's nothing too crazy. And if it is, I'm gonna stop pressing like this because I don't want to bend anything. Started moving pretty easily. And just a bit of a clean to not get any crap into the new bearing and kingpin and all that. After a bit of cleanup, I want to install the sleeves for the kingpin and the bearing. So let's go ahead and do that now. It's a bit of a puzzle when you don't have the correct tools for stuff like this, and yeah, these bits and extenders are of course not meant to do this kind of work, and I'm not going to put an extreme amount of pressure on them either. But you know what? It works, so I'm happy with it. There we go. And then I can go ahead and install a new fresh bearing also. And then I can install the retaining ring once again. And I have been looking for a torque spec for these, but I cannot find it. So I'm gonna do something that could be hurting some of you guys' feelings, but I'm just gonna tighten it up with this. And I have done that before without any issues, by the way. So, but it's of course better to do it completely correctly. There we go. And then a seal. There we go. And then I can install the kingpin and the hub and all that. Yes, normally I do way more details when doing this kind of stuff, but this car needs to be done soon. So it is a bit different than normally. But there is different sizes of washers, so you need to get the correct combination of those, so you don't get too much play up and down, because you only want to watch up and down. Oops, this is not, I started to fit the wrong one. It's this one. Ba-bam. And there is a special ring in between, in the middle, to get the grease, to grease it up. Yeah, this is surely a very snug fit. Perfect. I'm just starting the kingpin so I know it's through the first part of it, and just start it into the swing arm. And with that one just barely started down there, what I like to do is to take the old kingpin and just start that out in the top also, just to align the holes right before I start pushing. There we go. And now I can use my my kingpin tool. Just need to align it right and push this little thing into this bottom end of the kingpin. And then it's just a matter of tightening, and it will be tight, but I will not. But if it really gets tight, I will have to figure out what's going on. I'm gonna take it slow, just let it go in there nice and snug. By the way, there is an up and down on the kingpins, so you need to fit it the right way in. This is the right way, by the way. 2 holes at the bottom side and 1 at the top. There we go, now it starts to push the top one out, making the alignment perfect. There we go. I think it's around. Yeah, this is it. And then at the top, I need to fit this cap, and this can be quite mangled. I actually cleaned up the sides off camera with a Dremel tool. And then I just need to fit it into that hole straight and then tap it in. And I'm gonna take a real hammer, because once it's down there, I need to hit in the middle to just make it bend out. That way it actually gets quite tight. There we go, it's down. There we go, and then a couple of taps right there. Should do it. Maybe I overdid it slightly. But if this is done right, then when I fill it with grease, it won't escape from up here. We're just gonna have to see if I did that good enough. But firstly, I will have to fit this at the bottom end. And that is just screwed in. Like that. And then this part of it is bent using a hammer just to lock it in place. And with that done, I can fill it with grease, and if everything is correct, grease will escape from here and here when the pressure gets high enough, and not from up here. Most likely some will come, and if so, then I'm just going to tighten it up a bit more. And then this needs to be done, I think, is it every 2,000 or is it 10,000? It's way more often than you might think. And this setup is actually very reliable and durable if you remember to grease it. It's not something that you're really used to doing on newer cars. You don't have to grease anything. But this on a 2CV, it's important. Now it's being filled with grease. There we go, it's getting tight. Grease is coming out there and a little bit up there. The most important bit is that grease is coming out there, and it is. There we go. Bearings and kingpins, by the way, on both sides already. And I did a bit more work of the camera, fitted the steering arms and a new used steering arm on that side because it was bent. New hardware, locked and all that. And this is where I'm gonna wrap this video up. A lot of progress was made. And the next video will be, I hope, engine back in and engine start. Maybe the next video will actually start with the engine back in. By the way, I just want to show you, you can see where I have welded the new piece in. This is the little ledge thingy to put your stuff on. It's welded on there, and as you can see, I have a lot of work still to be done in those areas, because it's not paper thin, but it's close. I hope to be able to weld these up a little bit better, but honestly, I don't think I have a huge amount of chance to make it much better. But yeah, I'm gonna try, of course. Say hello to the 2CV besides it, by the way. And also a lot of progress was made on the engine over there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget you can support me on Patreon, and see you in the next one.